Can Brendan Allen avenge his 2021 loss to Chris Curtis at the Apex this weekend in their rematch? Stick around to hear my thoughts. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. All right, guys, so this weekend we have yet another weak Apex card, but at least the main event is fairly intriguing. We have Brendan Allen against Chris Curtis in a rematch of their fight from 2021, where Chris Curtis won by round 2 TKO. Usually, I would give the edge to the fighter that won the first fight, but given the way that both of them have performed since that fight, I don't know if I'm going to actually go that way. Chris Curtis seems to get less and less aggressive with each fight, and I don't love his attitude recently. Maybe it's the way he's always been, but he's always bitching and moaning on Twitter, has sparring match type of fights too. So his aggressiveness isn't there in his fights, and his mentality out of the cage doesn't seem to be all the way there. Now, Brendan Allen, on the other hand, is on a multiple fight win streak. He hasn't lost since he fought Chris Curtis and lost that fight. And he has continually talked about being a father and being a family man and how locked in that's had him as a fighter recently. Now, in their first fight, Chris Curtis clipped Brendan Allen with a hook and then followed him up with knees and punches to the body that allowed him to get a finish in round 2. Now, Brendan Allen has been performing amazing since that fight. And there's been a lot of big announcements in the middleweight rankings recently. We have Whitaker versus Hamzat coming up in June, which looks to be a #1 contenders fight. And then we also have Izzy versus Dricus du Plessis in the works for UFC 305 in August in Australia. Now, you'll see here that this fight is number 6 Brendan Allen and number 14 Chris Curtis. And it's not the biggest fight in terms of stakes in the rankings right now, given that you already have Sean Strickland has yet to be announced at the time of recording this video, but DDP is going to fight number 2 Izzy. Whitaker is going to fight way down in the rankings to number 11 Hamzat. Vettori just pulled out, but there is a lot of other lesser known fighters that have in the rankings that have yet to have announcements. You also have Roman Dolidze and Anthony Hernandez fighting at 302. And you have Paul Craig and Caio Borralho fighting at 301. But the bigger names in this division, Sean Strickland, Paulo Costa, Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, a lot of them have yet to be booked. And so this fight isn't going to have much of a say in terms of title rankings or title shots. So I'm not super interested in this fight from a stake standpoint, but just it's finally a good Apex main event. We've been getting some really terrible ones recently with unranked guys getting main events at the Apex. And since he lost to Chris Curtis in 2021, Brendan Allen has been on a tear. We have finish over Sam Alvey. That almost doesn't count. Win over Jacob Malkoun, and then 4 straight rear naked choke submissions against Krzysztof Jotko, Andre Muniz, Bruno Silva, and Paul Craig. Chris Curtis, on the other hand, since his win, has decision win, decision loss, and then he KO'd Joaquin Buckley, and then decision loss, clash of heads, where he totally bitched out of the fight against Nasruddin Imavov, and then a split decision that could have gone either way at UFC 297 to Marc-Andre Barriault. I think that Brendan Allen is on another level compared to what he was at in 2021. So I am going to pick Brendan Allen to get his 5th straight rear naked choke submission in the early rounds, like 1 or 2. And I think that Chris Curtis is going to go out there and complain about Brendan Allen not engaging on the feet, and then Brendan Allen is going to take him down and choke him out. So there's my prediction for this weekend at the Apex, Brendan Allen versus Chris Curtis 2. If you like this video and you want more content just like this, click that subscribe button down below. If you want more content from me, go check out my weekly comedy podcast, the Hissyfit podcast, and go check out my personal channel, Wyatt's World. Go watch this suggested video, and I'll see you next time.